Okay, good afternoon to all. I'm, as you heard, Darko Mrvaljević. I originally work in municipality of Danilovgrad in Montenegro, but I'm also part of Secretariat of Network of Association of Local Authorities of Southeast Europe. And I will briefly present you the key findings and recommendations of assessment that we did together with KDZ from Vienna on MAP-REA and MAP-RERA. So, next slide, please. This presentation is going to be a little bit tricky in the beginning. So, a quick survey for you who are here. When you have a need, or I just moved that you can see. So when you have a need or a problem in your village, suburb, city, or in your home, to whom you approach first? European Commission, Regional Council for Cooperation, or NALAS, or some other regional initiative or organization, national government, or perhaps the local government, the local authority, councillor, mayor. So who is the first point that you approach when you have a problem? Also, the next question, a quick one. When you have a problem in your home, village, with ICT services, what are you looking for immediately at the same moment? European Commission digital strategy, perhaps? MAP-REA or RERA, a document to read? Or you're looking for a phone number of a relevant local department who can solve your problem, who can give you some guidelines or give you some advice. So these quick survey or these quick questions are designed to lead you to who is the first choice when you have a problem, when you have a need, also in the area of digitalization. Local authority, your first address is your local government. That was the idea of NALAS and KDZ when we were doing the assessment. So to see how MAP-REA can be applied on the local governments, and also how can local governments be included in those activities implementing this very important document in the region. So the original assessment was commissioned by the NALAS, but implemented also by the KDZ, so Center for Public Administration Research from Vienna. What was the objective? As I said, assess the involvement of local governments in the MAP-REA and RERA and make recommendations. So not just to assess, to see how the local governments are included, but also to make recommendations, a very straightforward actions to be taken in the next period, how to include local governments in these activities. One of the objectives was also analyzing the gaps in the MAP-REA with respect to local governments' positions and involvement in the implementation of the MAP-REA. Some key findings. Key findings are that generally lack of local government interests and local economic development included in the MAP-REA. So as a regional document, it's more targeted or more oriented towards the national governments rather than the local governments. And just remember the first two questions, to whom you as citizens approach first when you have a problem. Not the national government, not the regional organizations, but to your councillor, to your mayor, to your local official. Also, one of the findings is that there is a very low representation of direct approaches for local government's roles and action settings. So not just that needs or needs of local governments are included, but also there is no effective actions that can tackle or that can include the local governments in the implementation of MAP-REA. We evaluated 47 designated fields. So in the final report, only one was assessed as, we call it, sufficiently covering local concerns. Only one from 47. 23 were assessed as not sufficiently covering local concerns in the MAP-REA or RERA, and the rest is not covering local concerns at all. As I said, you can see from our assessment that local governments is not tackled I will say not enough, but generally not tackled almost at all in this document. So these are some findings that can be found in our publication. You will see the link to the publication on the latest slides. But as you can see how we did the assessment. So we have several local concerns, like legal or regulatory attempts, measures, basic institutional settings, etc. And some findings and recommendations are also included. As you can see, for example, local level is not sufficiently covered in the measure that is tackling participation in broadband mapping, which is very important for the local communities, for the citizens. And there we think that local governments can be included by contribution through the identification of hotspots or white areas and capacity strategies. So these are some of the measures that can be taken from the local governments if they are included in this document and in the actions and in the implementation of the document in the next period. Also, like example, there is also local level not covered sufficiently in the contribution to optic fiber installations on the local sites or roads. And our recommendation is that this activity can be coordinated and implemented by the local governments because they know they have the relevant information, they have the knowledge of the on the spot, let's say, what's happening, what's the situation in the field. These are also findings. As you can see, we covered, as I said, 47 designated fields, and it covers the whole MAPREA document, MAPREA, but I'm just presenting those who are relevant to the area of digitalization, what is the subject of this summit. As you can see, for example, if you speak about the concern of governance or services of performance, there is action to ensure protection of citizens' data, but there is no predicted that activity can be implemented by local governments, and we see it as one of the very activities that can be directly involving local governments and the municipalities or cities as the basic provider of services to the citizens. Some findings about digital skills, digital economy, smart technology, etc. So, as you can see, also very few areas that are covering the local level. Many of them not covering sufficiently. Some of them, as you can see, open government data, which also can be implemented by the local governments, is not covered at all by the MAPREA document. So, we assess the document, we make some key findings, we see the situation, it's not that good, but also as a responsible organization, as NALAS and KDZ, and also as representatives of the local governments of Southeast Europe, we want to do something. We are not just complaining, we want to take actions. So there is some of the recommendations and that can be taken into consideration in the next period of implementation of this document. So one of them is to recognize the crucial role of local governments in digital integration by involving them in broadband mapping. As I said, the local government knows the situation in the field the best and can be very sourceful for the information and for the mapping and generally to improvement in this area. Also, there is one recommendation that is saying that emphasizing the important role of local governments in digital integration by ensuring data protection at the local level and providing digital services for the public and open government data for economic development. So what we mean, in the MAPREA there are many, or everything has a good intention and very specific activities to be taken. But what we want is to take that activities and put them on the local level, on the level of local governance. And that is something that can be not just added value, but also the crucial impact to fostering the results of MAPREA that can be very fruitful for the citizens in the region. Some of them recommendations, as you can see, are concerning local broadband map, open data initiatives. Why not put open data initiatives also on the local level? Why just on the national level? So these are some of the recommendations. Also, concrete one, a network of open cities in Southeast Europe could be considered. So we want to connect and to exchange experiences and knowledge within the cities or municipalities, local governments generally in Southeast Europe, and not just to learn from someone outside of the area, outside of Southeast Europe, but also to learn from each other and to implement the good practices. One of the good practices you will see later on this panel, to make that, to duplicate that practices throughout the region, having in mind a similar, let's say, environment for digitalization in the area. As I said, more information, besides this short presentation of the report, you can see, you can find on the NALA's website. So it's a very good document, very resourceful. So it tackles all areas of MAPREA, not just digitalization, and it has not just key findings, but also, as I said, recommendations and some concrete actions needed to be taken in the next period. So that was very shortly from my side. I think that my colleagues from NALAS will also present some tools and some good practices that can be maybe more interesting for you other than publication, but I truly warmly invite you to read the publication and maybe to see what can be maybe more improved or what can be done in the next period to include the local government in the MAPREA as we see it as the crucial moment now to take actions on the local level, and only by that, combining the national, regional and local level of governance, the result can be obtained in the most effective and the most result-oriented manner, let's say. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Marvaljevic. Will you stay here on the stage? And now I invite Mr. Boran Ivanovski for the presentation also. And microphone, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that's my presentation. Boran Ivanovski, Program Officer from the NALA Secretariat. Let's start with the presentation. Actually, I will start my presentation, but not repeat what Darko already said, that the role of the local governments within the MAPREA document is emphasized as very important, as very relevant. But in order to work more on the digitalization area, it is necessary to develop the digital skills, both from the perspective of the skills, actually digital capacities, both from the perspective of skills of the local administration and also utilization of the IT applications. That should contribute very much to the good governance at the local level, but also will contribute to the improvement of the performance of the local administration in the delivery of the local services. So my presentation is actually related to the e-tools that we have developed in NALAS and that can contribute to this conclusion to involve local governments in the digital part of the MAPREA document. And why these e-tools? They are very important because they help, they support the local authorities to collect, to analyze and to interpret data necessary for development of the local public policies. So that's why we developed 3 so far e-tools. 2 of them are related to the solid waste management at local level, and the third one is related to the water management. So the first one is solid waste information system. This is the Excel file, Excel workbook, which has 9 worksheets. It is translated in 10 languages of the countries of Southeast Europe. But also there is a manual that is supporting utilization of this tool, which is also translated in 5 languages. As you can see from the slide, it is, as I said, Excel file. And besides the analytical interpretation, presentation of the results, there is also, within each of these worksheets, there is also a graphical presentation of the results. This tool is intended for the local authorities, local administration, and also public utility companies. This tool is tackling the most important issues or questions of the management of solid waste at local level. What is the service coverage? What are the quantities of collected, transported, treated, disposed solid waste? But also what is the morphology of the solid waste at the municipal level? Actually, what is the content of the municipal waste? In addition to that, there is also this tool is making monitoring to the costs related to the collection and transport of the solid waste. The monitoring of all of the activities of the solid waste management at local level are doing actually against through 45 performance indicators, which are also compared to the international benchmarks. And this is very important, especially when local governments would like to develop their local policy approach, how to deal with the solid waste. They need to know what is the quantities, what is the morphology. It is easy to say we would like to recycle the waste, but do you have enough recyclables within your waste? Or is it better to do composting, etc.? So this tool can support the local governments to discover that and to develop proper policies at the local level. The next tool is cost and finance model. This is web-based application. It is at our NALA's website. It is translated in 5 languages in order to be closer to the ultimate beneficiaries, to the users in the municipalities and in the public utility companies. There is also a manual. And also within this version we have a test preview for those who would like to see what is the structure, architecture of this tool, but are not they don't have access, actually they are not registered to use the tool. So I would like to invite you, if you want, to go to this CFM NALA CU page and to test or to make a preview of the tool. But what is about this tool? This tool is, as the previous one, intended for the local authorities and their public utility companies. But this is designed specifically to tackle the issues of the financing of the solid waste management activities. This is, the tool is also identifying the major components of waste management, but also it is, the tool is tackling the resources and the costs related to each of the activities in the chain of solid waste management at local level. The tool itself is divided in 3 parts. The first part is data input, the second one is data processing and reporting, and the third one is data comparison. Within the part of the reporting, there are 4 main indicators for measuring the situation in particular public utility for the financing of the solid waste management issues, and additional 8 indicators. But what is interesting within this tool is actually the comparison opportunity. There are the utilities and municipalities that use this tool, they can compare their performances in terms of financing financial issues of the solid waste management with their peers at the national level, but also they can do it at the regional level. So this tool offers that opportunity as well. And this slide shows actually what is the difference, because usually people would say they're very similar, they're equal tools. They're not. The first one is making monitoring of all of the activities tackling the major issues I've mentioned of the solid waste management, while the second one is also making monitoring of the activities, but from the perspective of money. So this is the difference of these 2 compatible tools. And the third one, as I mentioned in the beginning, is related to the water sector at the local level. And this is asset management business planning model. This tool is also a web-based application, very similar as the previous one. If you're interested to see what is the architecture of the tool, you can see it within this quick preview approach or access. But this tool is very interesting and relevant, especially I would say for the local governments. Why? Because this tool is providing to the local authorities possibility to play with the investments, with the different scenarios for investments, and to assess the performance of their utilities for the water services. But not only the performance, but also the sustainability and their ability, the ability of the utilities to repay the loans for particular investments. And also, this is very relevant tool for carrying out the effective integrated asset management practices in the municipality. Not to repeat what I've said before on the previous one, yes, this is what are the benefits, and one of the benefits is that by using this tool, the municipalities can prioritize the needs of the citizens and the policy approaches. They can evaluate the current status of the asset management in the utility, which is very important. It provides opportunities for documented strategy for managing municipal assets, but also this is, as I said, monitoring mechanism for investments plans related to the defined level of service, and finally provides meaningful financial reporting. The tool itself has 5 components or 5 steps to be used. The first one is very comprehensive questionnaire related for the assessment of the public utility company. It starts with the operations, with the technical equipment, etc. It is based actually on the asset management practices, and for the utilities, they do not have already established or in place asset management practices. This tool provides opportunity to be used, but to use assumptions. And by the end of the using of this tool, the tool will make some notification that the results for the investments are based on, I don't know, 20% of the assumptions, but not on the real data. Real data meaning the data that are coming from the field, which is one of the main issue, challenge, obstacle in the local level in Southeast Europe. We miss data in the water sector, we miss data in the solid waste management, etc. So the utility and the municipality, they will fill in the questionnaire. After that, they do water and revenue balance of the utility, which is the base for the further step for the business planning. And the business planning, it's the third step, which is composed of the investment planning and also financial planning, which is necessary to support the investments. And the last part is actually the analysis. This tool provides different kind of analysis for the public utility companies and the municipalities. And usually the utilities and their municipalities as owners, they can monitor the performance and sustainability of the utility against 4 indicators that are part of this analysis model. Before I finish, because this is the last slide, before I finish with my presentation, I would like to say that NALAS, besides these 3 tools that are e-tools that are already available on our website for the ultimate users, the municipalities and utilities, we also provide, besides the e-tools, we provide also methodologies for collection of data. And also we provide capacity development measures for those municipalities and utilities that are interested to use our tools. So, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ivanovski. And now I invite Ms. Daniela Đurović for her presentation. Please join us here on the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniela Đurović. I'm a Vice President of Municipality of Herceg Novi, and my presentation today will be kind of the icing on the cake to our dear friends, our friends and speakers from the beginning of this panel today. Directly, our friend Darko has told you a lot about MAPREA and all the process that has been going on in this field, and especially with all the recommendations, special recommendations that are, let's say, regarding and implemented in the local sector. That's why I guess we all have the same slide, that we just realized that we all three have same slide about recommendations for improving the MAPREA, but specifically within the local governments or the local sector. While our friend Boran was more concerned about upgrading the skills of the local on the all local level of the all employees in the management. On the other side, I will be focusing on public services, actually digitalization in the public services. I can't say that's really all the things that Smart City can provide, but some of the first steps that we have started and we are implementing in municipality of Herceg Novi, that is actually what will be my today's presentation, and will be very short to respect the time. No more. Okay, it was extremely short, yeah. I will tell you about actually 4 services that are implemented in the municipality of Herceg Novi. First one is System 48. Why 48? It's because everything is been done within the 48 hours. Actually, what it is, it's a besides a special platform which is put on a website of the municipality, where all the citizens can give their remarks, questions, any issues that they have regarding communal services within the municipality, they can report through that system. Of course, the system also works in those traditional ways, by phone or by text messages or multimedia messages, but also through the web platform. Anyhow, all the details are stored within our system and directly are put to those who are in charge for solving the specific issue. Every citizen gets the report immediately that their request has been accepted and that they will have the answer within the 48 hours most. We like to brag that it's like 99% of all the complaints are actually solved within the 48 hours. But the point is that that citizens have their replies by that time. That's why it's called 48 hours, of course, and it's possible to be reached 24 hours, 24/7, because the system always works. And we have another tool. I'm trying to rush through the time, but somehow it does not work. Pod njega? Okay, finally. The second one is one-stop shop desk, which is something that a lot of municipalities basically do have. Its system, it's a little bit different. The one way that is what we have kind of upgraded, beside the point that all the citizens can get all the information and apply for all the documents that are within the municipality's obligations to do at one place, at one-stop shop desk. Also, they can bring up all those documents like a birth certificate. They can get it immediately at same place. What is addition to it is that we have tried to get closer to the citizens, and we have opened up 2 other offices within the municipality, which are connected to the main city, to the main municipal building where all the data are stored. So citizens do not have to get to the municipality; that they can do it within their own settlements within the municipal area. And all the answers they also get at the same place, so there is less need for going on around the city for asking for specific documents, reports, building permits, all kind of things. It seems that I'm doing something wrong. Okay. And the third one is something from our tourist organization. Tourist organization has, from last season, has implemented tourist e-card. Tourist e-card is actually supplied with a specific QR code, which is possible to, within the platform which they have with their tourist organization, you can get, well, all the tourists actually can get free entries to the specific museums, to specific exhibitions which are within the system. Also, they can get special discounts with some specific restaurants and hotels who are within the network. What is interesting is that tourist organization together with the municipality has supplied a lot of hotspots with a free Wi-Fi all around the city. And we are kind of proud of that almost all the city is covered, well, I'd say urban area is covered with a free Wi-Fi. Also, with this e-card, there is a special, as you see, iOS and Android mobile app, which use the GPS locator, and within the app you can get virtual walks, audio tours throughout the city attractions in different languages. And the last one is something that is actually not really something that we have found out, that's not ours, but something that other companies are making, and it's very popular within whole, let's say, whole world. It's Easy Park Up, and something that we are just about to implement. Recently the contract has been signed. It's something that from next season will be in place in Herceg-Novi. That is a easy find park concept. Why did we decide for that? Municipality of Herceg-Novi, due to geographical construction of the whole city, has very big problem, actually huge problem with the parking spaces. Also, we are not that big city, and we have even less roads. And unfortunately, most of the roads within the city are one-way roads. So if you miss the parking place that there is one available, it's very, very hard to find another one, or you have to go and actually drive all around the city to find another one and to get to the place where you want to be. That's why we are going to implement this Easy Park Up, which actually will be possible for all the customers to see where the parking spot is available and how to reach it, which is very important. Also, another thing that was difficult, and a lot of tourists have complained about that in previous time, the only way of payment for services for parking was through text messages, SMS, but only with the mobile numbers, mobile networks of the local providers, but not for the other providers from other world. So that's why we decided that this actually Easy Park Up is also very suitable for us, because it's easily with a credit card and other form of payments. It's very easy for all the tourists to pay parking place. Of course, it's not for all the tourists, it's for all the citizens. Anyhow, it's some of the services that municipality of Herceg-Novi is providing, and those services are actually based on some digital and technological solutions, and this is how we are trying to improve regional economic development in the region. Well, I hope that was short, and we are already over the time we presented for this panel. Well, thank you very much.
Ms. Đurić, is there, I think there is a time for one or two questions. Is there any? Or you want something to add? Any of you? We have like 2 or 3 minutes. We are quite on time.
Okay, so maybe it can be interesting or to provide you with an information. This document, this assessment of the MAPREA is a very important tool for the NALAS as it provides not just, as I said, findings, but also recommendations to be taken into consideration. And what is the best place to present it, besides the digital summit here in Belgrade, is also a very high-level forum of cities in Poznan, in Poland, which will be in June, I think. And on that summit, we'll present this assessment, this publication, also as a, let's say, foreplay for the next meeting of the Berlin process that is also going to be in the Poland. So this is how we see the way that local governments can be somehow included in the Berlin process as a very important regional initiative, also supported not just by the analyses, by the activities, but also financially supported by the European Commission and other donors. And in that way we see the opportunity for the local governments, for the local communities to be included, not just to wait and to see what's going to happen and to losing time and to lose time to wait for the fruits of this process or other regional initiatives, but also to take responsibility for the actions. And that can be the main message of this publication, that local governments in Southeast Europe are not just passive observers of in the region what's happening on the national or regional level, but also very willing to take active role and to implement all these measures that are taken on the national and regional level, and to implement it on the local level within the local communities with the citizens, and that's how the impact would be the greatest. So the next opportunity to hear or to see more about this publication will be in Poznan Forum of Cities as a pre-event for the next meeting of the Berlin process.
Okay, I would like to share some of our experiences of NALAS related to these tools I've presented. This is not only the tools that we are actually offering to the municipalities and utilities on a very operational level, but we use them through our members, to the local government associations in the Southeast Europe region, in those countries, to make changes in the legal and the policy framework of these countries related particularly to the solid waste management and water management. And for instance, I would like to share with you the experience we had related to the methodology I've mentioned that we have and offer to the municipalities for collection of data related to the content and morphology of the solid waste. This methodology was developed within one of our projects, and it was piloted in 4 countries of Western Balkans. One of them was Montenegro, in 4 municipalities, and we used also Swiss model for collection and analysis of data. So through the piloting, we showed to through our local government association, our member of NALAS, we showed to the central government level that this tool is very important. The methodology and the tool, they're very important for the development of the local policies. So municipalities are obliged to provide information, data every year to the central government level about the solid waste in their municipalities, on their territories. So the central government in Montenegro, they recognize the importance of this methodology, and today in Montenegro we have a bylaw in the law of solid waste management, which is actually based on the methodology we developed in our project. So today in the region of Southeast Europe we have only 3 countries that have the bylaw that regulates the methodology for collection of data about the quantity and the content, the morphology of the solid waste. Besides Montenegro, today we have Serbia, but also we have Turkey, the countries that have methodology as a bylaw and as an obligation of municipalities to collect those very important data.